So this is Strategic Forms, or 74 questions. And some of these poems respond to particular texts, but some of them might be obvious. To recreate criticism of the genre requires dissection, precision, and pattern sharing. This is not for the culturally lackluster, nor the fetishizers of solo purposes. In the afterlife of the genre, shapes will demarcate with ghostly commentary. Artworks will actualize in the afterglow of a constellated thought pattern as aura. These forms and fragments, long forgotten, will reassemble and resemble fables. The fabulous assemblage would speak askance. The fashion for shabby angels is luminous. In the weave of these new heaves of sense, you broach the subject of consumption, but telling tall tales of sexual impulse and lust, attention-grabbing by evoking metroforms, and those times where you swore impishly. It is alienating, inhabiting these style roads, borrowed from the shadows of the intellect. His evidence is grasped in a scratch-marked hand, his melancholy magic distilling a new presence. That was like Volta Benjamin, by the way. I'm sure lots of literary people got that here. And not that it matters that you didn't get it, I mean, who would? Anyway, so this is another one, number 17. Striving towards lucid awareness of sublime uselessness. We trace the paradoxes of the preceding periods. Here, the economies of the decorated recede, hailing the emergence of new neo-socialist voices, reverberating around the flowery tracery of others' laments. There are voices here which clarify these chancels. Their songs offer tragic confrontation of conditions. You who unwittingly sport the bourgeois shades will mass the cultural colours on offer to re-examine. There is nothing natural about these most perfect expressions, she says. They are inscribed trefoils of guilt. On Tennis Court Lane, I drew attention to the rhetorical function of socks. With trouser legs tucked, bulging socks making an eye-catching protrusion. As I cycled, I healthily signify function as well as public instruction. Cycling here, I feel unanswerable questions bulge with my motions, like the plural of a foot pedal or the relative merits of basket materials. All these things I'm fit to ponder as the revolution of my feet propels. That's my list, by the way. 26. The lyrical appeal of this scenario and of these distillates or shards of fury are that they offer spectres of form, soon to be forces which will weave into a soothing ease of sense made. It is nothing like death, but is reprieve, the quieting solace of the admonition, the proliferation of their words through labyrinthine thought curves and bars become the florid images of confrontation. These calligraphic marks of what passed are the carvings of a significance junkie. Each interaction is filigree in waiting, the gold leaf to surface inspiration. Hold tight, dear, for you thread and seams. And these are super serious. I think there's some jokes in here. This isn't funny, but I'll read it anyway. I gave these stretched shapes to you because I've fallen in love with you, alphabet. And I thought that you would admire my smiling ownership of these stretched shapes. And being beautiful would admire my ownership of something beautiful. So that's about a Russian ballerina who made alphabetical shapes with her body. This is for Denise Riley. It's called Once More. I've been told that if you put in a famous name, you're famous adjacent. Something has happened, but its outline remains blurred, unclear. Feel it. Grasp its careful contours. Heft its weight against your waiting body. Even this remnant reminds of the time cast out, the infidelity to time. Does the memory fade instantly once the details are sifted and distilled? What does accounting get us in these changeable times? Are we freer? This event, this happening, this now hazy marker of lived life, has become a competition of edges, or at least a semblance of such. Blood pumps, adrenaline affords the seconds, a few gasps more as the event explains itself. The mind worked up in retrospect with a lurid legibility of explanation. We were reminded of the saltiness of tears, the bodily reassurance of mucus. Your effusions describe the moments with a vividness not given to speech. Your contorted body offered a sustaining vision of a life immediately lived. Would it be easier to pass on, to settle for the significant memory, to pile under this other and mark up the next accident or event as key? To those who are not wrapped in joys, I say no. This was or is the watershed, the edge with which to measure the film over the modes of complaint. The shed of the self-ink in the petri dish of the experience can be peered at. Here was the stage to which to return with equal measures of affliction. Through these wonders which pass through you, as you were, life teases and fades. There is living and living, someone offers. I am, you say, see. So the next ones are hot off the printer. And it's a couple of poems, I won't take up too much time. This one's not necessarily going to occur in Kerf, by the way, Kerf. The remnants, the sawdust remnants that are taken off when you saw something. And I've become kind of an inveterate woodworker, and the book is going to be about woodwork, but also recklessly metaphoricalizing the notion of Kerf, like rejection and stuff like that. So it'll be exploring that, as well as things like autism and things. Anyway, this isn't going to make it into the collection, but I wrote it for obvious reasons. Yellow stars for empty stars. Heterocheon outlined the polysemic interception of Greece and loss, the smiles of these hopeful Dutch children captured before capturing their inverted rapture. Their yellow stars bluntly ratified against chest, sewn in haste and carried to Hierophant's hail. Before them, born on them, befalling them, seeming soft prosecution of persecution. He, they, unmade in the image of diminished returns. He, before they, made it 25, leaving scores of lines and lives keenly sketched. They may have drawn, painted, or pondered, and left vivid legacies. The badges marked them, yellow stars, stare, seer, and certitude, while they serve unceremonious, canvas, pointless, confused deaths. Dear Petra, dear children, was it for this you massacred? Your symbol grifted to the modern debased grief of having to hold a gentle cloth to our faces, or to be disabled from hopping to Primark. I mean no disrespect to Primark. So this is called And Now What? And Now What? And it's a Cali Gardner for a reason, the original. Because I made a shelf to hold all of my zines, and Zarf was in there. And now what? After necessitated narrow focus shifts broadways, after the mania of making distracts the ugly alienating abstract from their keen edges, dark thoughts are backbench funneled hours hunched and hefted through precision making. Never precise enough, of course, despite curved calculations. The striated chaos fibers strewn after cuts explanation, always more in dust as in expert exploration of labour pains, scuffed in knuckles, bared and beaten. And now what? Through inception sketches, measure moments, mouthed and mumbled rehearsals of semblance, fine and fertile in the febrile conversation of image, converted here as in that equation of imago shade. Through wood choice scraps, scrape and scramble to obtain purloin, beg and hollow out to assemble through saw and sand, eager to fondle the finalized boards to ache and harry a finish, once again feeble furnishment of a projected constellation of hope. And now what? After I did become arranged in the hashtag actually, The derangement of the mania distraction jointing relief now, dowelled to the tapered hole of the narrow form, sequestered in the wonk of the failed conceal of a pocket hole, hinged in the hegemony of idealisms of simplicity, malleted in tortuous extension of metaphoric lexis of craft, stretching grotesquely in the workless woke to no more momentum to keen with sustain, a temporary refrain from presentiments of pain. So just two more. There's also woodworking terms in here, because that's deliberate. But as I'm also critically aware, I have to say that I'm stretching these metaphors to killing them. So two more. Day's task to anti-dwell mutates, in jumbled wood wastes and scared in several tasks. The itch to pitch ideas from imagined other lives falls into a design for a folding table. Improvisation rains, stewed through disturbed nights, desperate to sequester in brick and mortar solace. Dialecticals as if, against noises, mumbles wash and hang full. The tropics are monologic, which is why clean. Forget that looks at art to stop, to enter the obligations of functional inhabitation of environments and contexts. And the stakes are high stakes, lavishly loathed and leftovers, while whiling with the acid indigestion of too much othering. And by othering, he means beer, which is not a joke, but a type of hyper honesty G-checked from the defaults and projections of wine and noble time anecdotalizing. Beer and austere and the sheer of concentration. Tabletop vices of the dull twins, pitched to ransom. The hangovers of concentrating on distraction, folding hinges the weight, elatedly anticipated clothesline shapes. Intensely designed, on the sly, and shy, but with verve. Despite the cat's cries, the varnish hasn't dried. Before all assembled, defunct eye holes mire. Argumentatively, after work, signs of distaste emerge, pacing noble. The underwriting misery check. Never to settle by the critical examination of presence, mindful not of the minefield of mindlessness, tearing from labour time the time to mind, the reclaimed sanctions of unearned mind. The fractionated functionality so simple when unexorcised in the oblong pursuit of self through the lifelong regime of relativization. Songbirds revisit the levitating meal bugs, hitherto unobtainable, despite feeder flesh. The spider has webbed those harvest corpses and they wobble plump, enticingly. I'm a reminder of the chaos of cleanup, disagreeable disorder needing fixed, such as loneliness, 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 such as loneliness. Someone simply interpolates fondly through the back porch, contra frivolous privilege auditor ever set to worry. Happy the man, and happy he full known, who by dull sophistry can call the pain a boon. Mindfully, he reached through body to hate feed the cat. He reached through body to hate to feed the cat. Body hate to feed the cat. Not to take over my cat. Whose glances and gapes are guilt-tipped, plates piled, washing riles, bills smile, poems servile to the trick of the performative parallel rift through sound plan, like the discarded sawdust of what is now hailed and harked as word work. So this is the last one, it's a funny one. And it's an acrostic of a friend of mine called Barbara. It doesn't have a title, but it's subtitled, I changed ideology to itch and left the wonky grammar deliberately. So when you hear itch, you did say ideology, and I think itch is better. Begin again to reflect as Chopin lulls and neglects of ruminous presence. Thoughts buttress on work, on the aesthetic itch embodied there. Rare it is and rarely rich, as thoughts tend, so smiles. Thank you.